Hello and welcome to round 5 of the New Zealand Touring Car Championship 1985 edition here at HSO, where we're coming to you tonight from Ruapuna Park, or Powerbuilt Raceway, or now I can't remember the most modern name for the circuit, so my apologies, but anyway, we're in New Zealand as the name suggests for the championship, and this track is located just outside Christchurch on the southern island of New Zealand, a 3.3k circuit, and probably one of the in my view most fun tracks that we're visiting in this championship, mainly because of the allowance for all the cars to be really quick. It should also, I suppose, be said right now that the track is not quite as it would have been in 85, because there is no period correct 85 version of the Ruapuna Park track, which was shorter and more of a tri-oval sort of layout for the track. But anyway, layout we're racing on is from 1993 onwards. But yeah, anyway, let's get down to the track where qualifying is underway, and let's have a look at whoever have done a couple of laps or is doing laps. If I can just do this as well. Mainly looking for someone who's starting their laps, but might be a little bit difficult. I believe David has just started his lap, so he's been down the main straight and now into Flexoplus corner, this tight left-hander. He has a bit of understeer there. Now down the Liqui Moly straight and into Icom corner, this left-hander, very quick, 4th to 3rd gear. And then this is Euromark corner, this hairpin left, which is very tight with a bit of access road to use on the outside if you want to. Now there's a couple of kinks and then we're into Fulton Hogan, this right-hander. Another very tight corner, which then switches back into a long sweeping left. And then an even longer sweeping right-hand corner at Casino Carousel, which is more or less a 180-degree hairpin. And then into Southern Salvage S's. That's this right and left-hander. And then down this short little chute and into the Rock Sweeper, which is the final corner, which that too is a hairpin, with the pit area to the right of us here. And this is also a drag strip. That's why this long straight has a white line in the middle of it, of course. Down into Flexoplus again. Let's see what we have in terms of times. Tiago Canola currently has pole position. Let's see if anyone else who ought to be fairly quick is out at the moment. As Jonatan just leaves the pits. We have one new entrant for this race. That's Jason Fitch, driving Pascal Miklas number 17 Dick Johnson Mustang, since Pascal can't be here tonight. And here we're on board with Dave Miller, who I believe have one more lap here, if maybe even 2. No, okay, he finished his 2 laps, actually a bit further up the grid. At the moment in 9th, so that's nice to see. We also have back racing with us, let's see where he is, Dimitris Giannopoulos, who's in Jan Kowalski's number 31 BMW 635. We also have Mikael Drexler, who has picked up the Jaguar XJS for this race. Nice to see the Jaguar back running. Because we have Grant Riddell actually with a lot of trouble in qualifying. Only a 1:33.4. So he'll have a lot of work to do in this race. That's actually right on board with Steve Parker here and his Rover SD1 Vitesse. 3.6 litre V8. Now Yves was near the top of the timesheets earlier, so let's see what Steve can do. The same kind of car. As he actually jumps up in the 5th straight away, but let's ride on board with him for a lap and see what he does. Okay, so let's see what he can do as he comes across the line. See, Antits also jumps up a little bit, so let's see. Steve doesn't seem like he improves, so let's jump on board with Jan going into turn 1 with a big slide going on. And listen to that beautiful Volvo engine working away as he goes into Euromark, using all the road and a bit more. Really late on the brakes into the last corner is Jan here. Looks like it should be a good lap. And it is a perfectly decent one, a 28.5, but that's still quite a bit of bits off the rest. Okay, it looks like Raoul isn't setting a time, but we have a full grid, which is absolutely fantastic to see. As we can see here, Grant Riddell at the bottom of the guys who have set a time. That's definitely unfortunate for him. But we also have another newcomer in Jan Prusa, who's driving the number 20 Kirk Rogers BMW in the place of Jakob Fredriksson, who unfortunately has to work and can't be with us racing tonight because of that. I'm just having a quick double check to see what's going on with those who have done maybe a few too many laps, but it looks okay. So Thiago actually takes pole position in his Mitsubishi Starion. That's a great show for him. But let's have a quick look at the point standings as well for this championship ahead of this race before I go through the driver's briefing with everyone. But for the championship, Jonatan still in the lead, but only 1 point in the lead for him in his Volvo. Matthias Weber lies second in his Holden. Yves Placé lies third in his Rover on 62 points, so only 4 points behind Jonatan. Fourth and 13 points behind is Steve Parker in his Rover, and then we have Thiago Canola, who's on pole position, of course, for the race in fifth, 15 points behind. So clearly the championship is very close, and anyone is definitely still in with a shot at claiming the championship here. And as I'll just have a quick go at the driver's briefing, I'll leave you alone for a moment, but I'll be back in a minute or so. Okay, looks like... sorry, I just had a very interesting question from one of our drivers. But yeah. Let's see, onto the racetrack we go, as we can see a lot of the track from the turn 1 gravel trap, the very end of the front straight. Was Filippo has a bit of a moment. That's one of the dangers with turn 1. And now we have another bit of issue. The gravel trap is quite grippy. But at least it's likely to stop you from hitting the wall. And yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see this race. Thiago, of course, in the lead, but oh, sorry, pole position I should say, but any one of the top 10, I think, could be in with a shot at winning this. Sorry. Ah, okay, it's a misinterpretation of the words, I suppose. Oh well. But yeah, qualifying over. Race just around the corner. Let's hope everyone have a good race, and so Matthias struggling with the tires. Sort of understandable with the Holden. But yeah. Hopefully everyone will have a good bit of fun and enjoy themselves around this terrific circuit, and we'll have a good race and a continual close championship. That sound is really irritating. But anyway, race session on the way. And hopefully everyone will behave themselves and we'll have a good race. Maybe I should also point out that the final round of the championship will be raced on December the 2nd, I think that is, as the formation lap gets underway. Yep, December 2nd will be the date for the final race. That's a Sunday. And the final race will be 2 hours, so there will be 8 one-off cars available to pick up. So I hope to see a few of you, if you want to race, take part in the final race at Wellington. But anyway, on pole is Thiago Knola in his Mitsubishi, second for Yves Placé in his Rover, third for Matthias Weber in the Holden, and fourth for Jan Team in the Mustang. David Yates is 5th in the second of the Holdens in the field, with Jan Tits in the Volvo 6th. 7th for Steve Parker and 8th for Dimitris Giannopoulos. 9th for Jan Prusha. And 10th for Ray Riddle, another good showing for Ray in the venerable 635. Generally speaking. 11th for Cesariusz Shalapinski in the first of the Alphas, with Ryan Yannick in the second Alpha in 12th. 13th for Mick Chapman, and 14th for Dave Miller in the Mitsubishi. 15th for David Saber, and 16th for Mikael Drexler in the Jaguar. 17th for Juha Bors, and 18th for Eivind Andersen. 19th for Eivind... 19th? Oh. My apologies. 19th for Eivind Andersen, Bruno Chacon in 18th. 20th for Jason Fitch. 21st for Felipe Enrique, hopefully he won't disconnect here. 22nd for Filippo Marazzi. Grant Rudol 23rd, and Raoul Jereb rounds out the field in 24th. So we can see the lights ahead, we can't see them there, so let's go onto the front of Thiago's car and get ready for this race. So just wait for the final car here, Raoul Jereb to line up. I believe he has, so let's get ready for the green flag. 2 lights, 3 lights, and green lights are on and the race is underway. And a great start for Thiago. Let's see if he can hold on down into turn 1. Looks like he will be able... Oh, maybe not. Yves going up the inside, and Matthias Weber around the outside. Oh dear me, this could get close. Oh, as I believe that's Dimitris Giannopoulos on the inside, as Matthias Weber is out wide, as is Yves Placé, I believe. It looks like everyone now has survived somewhat. Let's see, up front it's now David Yates with Jan Tits second, Jan Team looking for a move, and then it's Thiago Knola going around outside of Jan Team in that Mustang. Oh, and Thiago looks like he has a run. Maybe not. Jan Prusha is in there as well, as is Matthias Weber. So let's follow this lead battle for a little bit as Yves Placé muscles his way past Steve Parker in the background. We can see there Thiago having a great run out of the carousel, but can't make much of it. As David Yates looks to try and open up a gap. We have Yates, Tits, Tim, Canola, Pusha, Weber, Riddle, and I believe that will have been someone. Grant Riddle already up that far up the field. My God. As we can see, David Saber unfortunately off the road in the background. Not entirely sure how that will have happened, but Matthias Weber goes up the inside of Jan Pusha into turn 1. And then there's Ray Riddle and Steve Parker fighting, and then it's Chapman Bors, Grant Riddle, Øyvind Andersen, Giannopoulos and Yannick side by side, Fitch, Placé, Jereb, Enrique and someone else, and then there's Drexler, and further behind is unfortunately David Saber. Let's see, Jon Team. Ooh, a bit of a moment in Euromark corner. Slows up Thiago as well, and Matthias Weber looking up the inside. Not able to make that move work, but that was definitely an opportunity for him to find a position. As Steve Parker made his way past Ray. And then there's Chapman, Bors and Ray Riddle. Let's jump on board with Ray for a moment. Let's see him work cars that ought to be about the same pace. The Formula 2 Works Holland dealer team cars, having a very good showing at the moment. It looks like Grant will have a very good run coming off the final corner here at the Rock Sweeper. Let's see what he can do down into Flexoplast corner. He's definitely up the inside. Well, it looks like, yep, looks like he'll have the position there. Whereas Chapman is very sideways up ahead. And there's Yannick and Placé. And Fitch having a good race at the moment by the looks of things. He has been struggling a little bit in other series that we're running, as Riddle has made his way past Mick, so let's see how that came about. Looks like he had a better run through Icom corner and was able to get by. As Yves has made his way past Brian Yannick and making his way up the field as well. Let's see up ahead. It's still David Yates in the lead with a gap to Jan Tits, and then there's a gap to Jan Team, and then there's Weber and Canola behind him. Let's see, looks like Weber has a run here. Doing his best to try and hold on to the position, but not able to do so. When behind we can see a big battle as well. And Riddle has made his way past Pusha, and now he's behind his senior in the family. We'll see what will come of this. As Ray hits the inside curb, loses a bit of momentum. Still, that 635 is good on power, so he's able to still hold on to the position. But we can see Grant really working the rear tires there. Big slide coming out of Casino Carousel. running wide. Fortunately for Jan, he ain't close enough to have an opportunity there, but Yves now in an HDT sandwich, but has a wow, what a run through the rock sweeper. Goes up the inside of Mick down there. Now Mick with a run down the straight. Let's see what happens if he can make his way past the round outside. Not quite able to, as Juha behind has a big moment on the brakes. And Demetrius and Brian fighting there. The blue Alpha and the black BMW. You see now Grant has made his way past Ray, and Steve Parker is his next target. It looks like David Yates is going to have a good race here tonight if he can hold on. I believe he'll have about a second lead, 2 seconds second lead actually. That's a fantastic opening bit to this race for him as he heads on to lap 5. So it's David Yates first, Jan Titz second, Matthias Weber third, and then 4th and 5th is Jon Thiem and Thiago Canola. Steve Parker 6th, Grant Riddall 7th, Ray Riddall 8th, 9th for Yves Passet, Jan Prusa 9th, and rounding out the top 10 for the moment is Mick Chapman. Then we have Bors, Yannick and Giannopoulos, Shelapinski next in the Alpha, and then we have the 2 Mitsubishis of Raul Jereb and Dave Miller. And then a bit further behind we have Jason Fitch in the Mustang. And then we have the Jaguar and BMW of Drexler and Marazzi, and then it's Sabre and Chacon side by side. And Felipe Enrique, by the looks of things, rounding out the grid. Or field, I should say. Let's see, Yves right behind Ray now, so let's jump on board with Yves and see if he can make his way past. He's of course our championship leader, but as it stands, I believe he'd lose the championship lead because of how tight the championship actually is, with 4 points covering the top 3. I'll just do this as well, so that you all have an opportunity to find your favorite drivers in the field. And unfortunately Ivan is out of this race with suspension damage. I didn't notice he was in the retirement list, as Yves Passet again goes up the inside in the last corner. That's a very impressive move to pull off. That Jaguar definitely, sorry, not Jaguar, that Rover definitely working well in the tightening corners. And again we can see he's really early on the power, sliding the car, but gets a good exit either way. And then we have Steve Parker and Grant Riddall now very soon in a battle, and still Jon Thiem and Thiago Canola very close together here. You can see Canola trying to work. He gets a fantastic, really good run, but the power of that Mustang is definitely superior in a straight line. And Thiago trying to time the exit as well as he can to use the run. Here he goes up the inside. Again, the power of that Mustang down this front straight is definitely troublesome for Thiago. looks like Grant's steam up the field has stagnated a little bit, with him ending up behind Steve Parker. But Grant with a bit of a run. Not quite able to get up there though. And of course the Rover is working very well around this track, as we've seen from Yves, so... And Yves of course isn't that far behind, so... he could catch up, and Grant of course has been working the car very hard, and the tires especially. As you can see there, he's all crossed up, putting the power on. And again he's really sideways getting the power on. Let's see if Grant can have a run down the front straight this time. He's definitely closing. Wow, what closing rate that is. And Steve having a think about going up the inside, but decides against it. I'd now expect Grant to pull away. If only a little bit, as Thiago has also made his way past. He did it quite a while ago, by the looks of things. Whereas Matthias also is catching Jan Tits in a Volvo. So there's fights all up and down the field here, which is great to watch. And know that it's the case. That's one of the hopes with this kind of championship, that despite driving very, very different cars, everyone can have a good fight somewhere in the field, and that's definitely the case with Marazzi and Sarkon in a fight, and Shalapinski not that far behind either in the Alpha. And then of course we have this powertrain with the Jaguar and two Fords fighting for position. As unfortunately Felipe Enrique has also retired from this race. But David Yates in the lead, and he has an even bigger lead now by the looks of things, so yeah. 4.3 seconds, and then we have Jan Tits actually smoking that Volvo, by the looks of things. Let's hope that Volvo can hold together. Let's see what Matthias Weber can do in terms of finding a way past for second position and a championship lead if it stays as it is. Sorry, Yves ain't our championship leader, is he? He's third. Jan Tits is of course our championship leader, and Matthias Weber is second, so there's 1 point between them in the championship, and nose to tail on the track. And of course the difference between first, second and third, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, is 3 points, so they definitely want to take the position from one another to open up the gap. But with that said, as unfortunately both Raul Reb and Filippo Marazzi is in the gravel in turn 1. That's a bit unfortunate for them. Hopefully they'll be able to get out and continue in this race. As we can see here, both of them are still there, but Raul getting free now, just as the leader comes by. Oh, as Jan has a moment in turn 1, loses it. Goes on the inside of the track, and that means both Weber and Canola makes their way past. Possibly distracted by the cars in turn 1. Was another one goes in there. Oh no, that's Ray Riddell. Oh dearie me. Turn 1 starting to claim drivers. I'd expect it to be a bit later in this race. As Dave Miller comes past as well. And 10 laps in the books. So Ray drops to 13th, Filippo Marazzi drops pretty much a full lap by the looks of things. And of course Jan Tits drops a couple of positions as well with his off on the inside of the track. That's now Ray Ridal and Brian Yannick close to one another. Let's take a moment to watch this Italian versus German, America versus the UK battle. Very impressive to see that Alpha work in the last corner. Goes in deep, points it and then squirts out the other side like a metronome. Brian definitely has that Alpha working very well indeed. As he is passing Steve Parker, and also this little battle between Grant and John very close. So let's ride on board with John, and we can see battle between Steve and Yves in the background as well. And Yves makes his way past in the background, so let's see how that all happened. I'd expect Steve to sort of let him by if it was in this area of the track. Yep, looks like it. Very neat, staying wide to let Yves get by. And Grant has also made his way past Jon, so let's see if we can find out where. Oh, Jon made a bit of a mistake in the Southern Salvage S's. Well, Filippo is unfortunately off in turn 1 again. It's so unfortunate for him. As Mikael Drexler leaves the pits after a bit of repairs as well. So it looks like Filippo will now be able to get free again. Of course, it's for good and bad that that gravel trap is so sticky, but one of those where you need to sort of think about the possible dangers, as Dimitris Giannopoulos, I believe, just made his way, as he recently made his way past Mick Chapman, and of course Brian Yannick and Ray Ridal still very close to one another. Let's ride on board with the APS car of Ray Ridal for a moment. Looks like both Brian and Ray is catching up to Mick. Possibly Mick struggling with a bit of tires here. Which has been a trouble for many of the Holden drivers. As Brian covers late, gets a little bit of a nudge in the braking zone. Both of them very late on the brakes, but both survive and can keep fighting for a bit longer here. Through Icom corner, now we can really see how quick that corner is. As Ray has a bit of a think to go out the inside and in Euromark corner. But that Alpha is really strong on the brakes, so I think Ray will have to work out something else, as Jon, I believe, has made another mistake somewhere, because he's now behind Yves Placé, whereas Yves is all sideways coming through the S's. as Matthias Weber has close company from Thiago Canola as well in the fight for second. Let's see what John can do down the front straight with that Holden power. Even with both these cars having V8s, clearly the American Bay. Oh no, as Steve gets all sideways! Wes Jason is out here as well, unfortunately. So that's very unfortunate. As Steve drops behind Dave Miller as he gets free. Jason Fitch still working his way through the gravel trap. So unfortunately Steve drops to 14th after fighting for 7th. As Ray has now finally made his way past Brian as well. I believe that happened in turn 1 as they were coming by. Jan Pusha, of course, one of our newcomers, having a good race here. Currently sitting in 8th. In his Kirk Rogers number 20 BMW 635 CSI. A 3-litre straight 6 engine car. Sorry, 3.2 it is actually. Very good all-round car. And clearly he's making good use of it. So we can jump on board with the Mitsubishi Starion of Thiago for a bit here, see if he can make his way past Matthias Weber in that Holden. As David Saber very sportingly gets out of the way. I believe Thiago's race strategy should be to just keep up with Matthias and David as well as he can, and then make use of his Mitsubishi's far better handling, just like he did, and of course with handling tire conservation, just like he did at Timaru, where he won to jump up the championship border a little bit. Let's see, Dave Miller and Steve Parker in the fight here, so let's jump on board with Steve again. Let's see what he can do against Dave in that Mitsubishi. The second of the Works Mitsubishi cars. Dave actually able to hold on down the front straight. Where he gets really sideways into Flexop last corner though. This could be Steve's opportunity to get by. Looks like Dave looking for the cutback here, see if he can make it work. Ooh, not quite. Let's see if Steve can make the hairpin though. He does. Okay, so that's probably that battle over for now. The Chapman keep dropping time. Let's jump on board with the other of the Works Mitsubishis again. And see what he can do. We can see the speed difference through turn 1, especially the tightest part of that corner. Mitsubishi is really strong. And Here goes Weber up the inside, and Fitch also lets Thiago through. Very sporting and nice from Jason there. I'm really impressed by Thiago again, to be able to keep up with the much bigger engines. That said, of course, his Mitsubishi has a turbo, but still quite a bit slower down the straights. Let's see, David Yates still in the lead as we are nearing the halfway point of this race, and where the ties should start to show somewhere. But anyway, Yates still in the lead, Matthias Weber second, with Thiago very close third, fourth for Jan Titz, but he is being caught by Grant Riddle in fifth. Sixth for Yves Placé, also trying to catch up to the guys in front. Seventh for Jon Team, who is really close to ending up off the road in turn 1. Eighth still for Jan Prusha. Ninth for Dimitris Giannopoulos in his one-off drive for the APS team in that BMW, catching up to Dimitris, so that should be a good fight to watch. And rounding out the top 10 at the moment is Mick Chapman, but he is being caught by Ray, and Brian Yannick ain't that far behind either in 12th. As Ray runs wide, as does Yannick behind. And again, I just love watching these old machines going around the racetrack. And no matter what you think of BMWs nowadays, it's, from what I understand, it's sort of either you love them or you hate them, sort of thing. You have to say that that 635 is looking very purposeful for an everyday car. Well, sort of everyday car, but anyway, looking very nice indeed. Great to see a few new guys joining us to watch as well. Welcome to HSO, and I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. As Steve Parker has pulled away from Dave Miller, Johan Boos has dropped back, and he's actually in a fight with Cesareus here, so let's jump on board with the Alpha. Oh, Juha! Oh, just that's why that gravel trap is there. That was a massive moment for Juha, but luckily for him, he's able to survive and keep going. And of course, it drops a heap of time. So now we have Giannopoulos and Prusha in a fight here for 8th and 9th. And Dimitris with a little bit of damage to the left front of his car. As we are now on the 20th lap of this race, we are just at halfway. Let's see what's going to happen here. Dimitris looking for the cutback. He has looked like he was going to have a good run, but not quite able to make it work. Down into Icon corner. Dimitris taking a lot of the inside of the track. But Jan is still able to hold on. Dimitris again looking for the cutback. It gives Jan a little bit of a nudge. A bit of that, hey, I'm here. So Ray has made his way past Mick in the background, so Ray back into the top 10. And standings wise, right behind his teammate. As Dimitris runs wide, coming out of the carousel. This is probably as fair a fight you'll get in this championship, since both cars are of the same make and model. And also looks like, apart from that fight between, well, unfortunately Mikael Drexler is out of this race as well. Apart of that three-way battle further behind, this is definitely the closest battle on track, so let's keep on watching here. As we can see up ahead as well, Raoul Jereb and David Sabre in a fight for position between themselves, so this could be troublesome for the two BMWs here. Dimitris puts himself in the right side mirror, trying to unsettle Jan. Was Jan runs deep, Dimitris up the inside. Oh, sideways for Dimitris though. Let's see if Dimitris can hold on around outside. He does, I think. Runs a little bit wide, but I believe he should have. No, actually, Dimitris now getting the cut back. Now has the inside for the last corner as Jereb tries to get out of the way. I believe Jan sideways on the outside, now looking for a good run himself and the slipstream to try and get by Dimitris again. Dimitris go to the inside of the track, has to not give any kind of draft to Dimitris. See, it looks like they're side by side into turn 1. Oh, still side by side. Jan just about leaves Dimitris enough room as David around tries to let them by. Oh, as we have, I believe that's Ray parked in turn 1, it was. Let's see if we can see what happened. Looks like he... Oh, it's Mick who goes way too deep into turn 1. And unfortunately taps Ray round, but Mick waits and lets Ray by. It looks like Mick might be carrying a puncture or some kind of damage because he's very slow at the moment. That's unfortunately Ray outside the top 10, and now Brian Yannick in the top 10 instead. And Grant very close to Jan now, so almost time to head up there and have a look, but let's continue watching this BMW fight for now, for the BMW Honours of course. Who was Jan again sideways into the rock sweeper. Looks like he's running a bit of a rear brake bias there. And Jan trying to cover off the run. Dimitris goes to the outside. When Jan sideways, this could be Dimitris' opportunity if he can get the run off the corner. He's a bit too cautious though. And Prussia holds on for now. See if Dimitris can make it here. No, he can't. It takes too much of the curb. Loses momentum. Oh, this is an audacious try. Possibly on. Oh, he gives Jan a touch. Jan holds on because it's a very slow corner. That was very close, but a good fight nonetheless. Let's just have a look. Still a bit of a gap there, but here is another fight still going on. But this one looks a bit more settled than the one between the BMWs. It has to be said. Let's see, Dimitri's looking for a good run onto the main straight. It looks like Jan has a slightly better gearbox setting for the top end speed in terms of getting there, so Dimitri's definitely will have to work for it, as is Jan, as he gets sideways off the first turn into Icon Corner, not side by side, boys. Oh dearie me, that's very close. I'd put that down as a racing incident, but that's very brave by both of them, and Dimitri is now looking for the cutback again. Let's see if he can make it work. He has to go over the curb down there. Now looking for another cutback. Let's see if he goes around outside. He tries. Oh, this could work actually. Oh, not quite. Very close to work, but not quite there. And Prussia holds on for now. I'm just having a look here. Looks like the fight is now on for... Oh, his Grant runs straight off the track. Oh dearie me. Oh, he almost makes it through the gravel, so he won't lose that much time. Not that much time. That's a good 10 seconds lost. As we're back here now with Prussia and Giannopoulos, still fighting very hard for this position. It still looks to be pretty much the closest battle on track, at least the most consistently close. Oh, as Dimitris goes for an audacious braking maneuver, Jan gives him room. Good spot there, Jan, to leave him room, and Dimitris looks like, oh no, actually, Prussia has to run off the corner. And he is still on the inside. A little bit of contact there. That's a very impressive move by Dimitris, but also very dangerous. Good job on Jan for leaving him the room in case Dimitris wouldn't have been able to stop. Let's see if Jan can... Oh, as he gets really sideways. Jan definitely running a lot of rear bias by the looks of things. It's starting to cause him issues as he gets onto the grass and all sideways and crossed up. But unfortunately, I believe Dimitris pulling away from him now, at least for the time being. You can see Raoul and Saber still nose to tail here. Was David really slow off the corner, Raoul trying to get the run onto the front straight. It's great to see these two being able to have a scrap here. Now Tiago up the inside again onto the front straight. But again, that Holden, another V8 of course compared to Jan's earlier than the Ford. The Holden definitely working well down the straight. As Matthias gets a bit sideways under braking, he's able to hold on. See Thiago looking. Oh, Matthias getting sideways there. Thiago's past. Let's see if Thiago can open up enough of a gap here to be safe down the front straight. If he does, I believe Thiago will be able to pull away from Matthias from this point on. I'd put that on the tire account. As we can see, sort of almost feel Matthias' car being very sideways and when he tries to get the power on. But this will be an interesting one to watch. Let's see how close Matthias can get and if he can get close enough to make a move. Not quite, so I believe Thiago will pull away now. Just look at that mid-corner speed. Incredible to watch. And now David, of course, will have to be very careful with Thiago presumably being able to close in. But sadly for us, that means most of the battles are non-existent now, but Mick Chapman and Dave Miller closing in on one another here. Oh, and Grant off the track again. Now Jon is getting past. Oh dearie me. So Grant's tires must be cooked at this point. And Yves now close behind him, relatively speaking, but Dimitris has pulled away a massive gap on Jan, and Brian and Steve are closing in as well. And Ray too ain't that far behind, as apologies for that. I believe I touched my mic then. And here comes Dave and Mick. Indeed, very close to one another, so let's drop back to these two and have a bit of a look. Mick running wide in Icon corner. As Dave gets a lot of understeer in the carousel there. Drops a bit of time to Mick, but in the S's we can see that the Mitsubishi is definitely better off on tires as he closes in on Mick in there. Now Dave having a fantastic run onto the front straight, but of course he's against the Holden, so it is what it is in terms of the differences in the cars. I'm sorry, it looked like they were, well, don't know if Yves have made a mistake or if it looks like he may have made a mistake because he has some damage on the front of his car. Oh, he makes another mistake, drops the position to Dimitris. Wonder if he has some damage, more damage than just the cosmetic bits on the right front. And not that far behind now is Prussia, who's in a fight. Another fight here. Now with Brian Yannick in the Alpha and Steve in the Rover. Looks like Jan is running out of tires as well, as he runs wide coming off the S's. And has Brian up his inside. Ooh, really sideways. And again sideways getting on the power. You can see here the difference with the straight 6 compared to the V8. V8 is just a little bit quicker, as Jan is, they also had a draft from Yannick. And Yannick looking for, I believe, the cutback, but Jan is up the inside as contact. Bit of two cars going for the same piece of track, I think. Let's quickly have a look, but I believe that ought to be the situation. Yeah, I'd put that as both cars going towards the same piece of track. Not really anyone's fault, really. Of course I could be wrong, but that's what I think, as Sabre runs deep and drops behind Raoul. As we can see, Canola definitely closing in on David here. With 9 laps to go, it's 2.4 seconds. Matthias Weber not that far behind, but Grant ain't closing in on the cars in front, and Dimitris, with all the battling, is now up into 7th position. With Placer 8th, Parker 9th, and Yannick 10th, and Jan Prusa just outside the top 10 in 11th. And not that far behind him is the second of the APS cars. I think Jan might be a bit tired of seeing that black and sort of goldish BMWs by the end of this race. And still Dave Miller and Mick Chapman in a fight over 13th and 14th. Both of them a little bit wide in Icon Corner there, but about equal. But we can see that Mick much earlier on the brakes compared to Dave and the Mitsubishi. But seemingly Dave struggling a little bit with his front tires, while Mick, of course, I'd assume anyway, is struggling with the rear. So different kind of issues, but both of them doing a very good job to keep on the track and in the fight. But Thiago closing very quickly on David. Now 1.6 seconds, it's only been about a lap. So David definitely struggling with the tires, so this is probably the battle to watch towards the end of the race. Unfortunately, I'm sorry for Dave and Mick, but what I've heard, people are more interested in watching the fight for the win, so especially in the opening laps, of course, but I'd assume also towards the end. So Thiago now within a second behind David as they cross the line with, I believe, about 5-7 laps to go. This could be a really hallelujah ending to this race, as David runs very deep into turn 1. Let's actually see what Thiago can see. Where's David? Oh dearie me, David gets too much on the throttle and spins. Oh dearie me, that rejoin wasn't fantastic, as Matthias just about gets by without completely sideswiping David's car. So David, unfortunately, with his still not completely healed right foot, goes a bit too much off it on the throttle pedal and drops from first to third, as Thiago looks set for another win in this championship, and of course the first driver to get to 2 wins. That's incredible, as Grant still trying to catch up to Jon, as Steve and Brian is also very close to one another, as is Prusa and Riddle, and Chapman and Miller. So let's see, Ray decides not to have a go down there, so let's see if Dave can get close enough to Mick. Doesn't look like it. Looks like status quo there, so let's see if Ray Goes for an audacious move around the carousel area. He has a bit of a cut back. Can he get a better run? Doesn't look like it. When Yves has made another mistake, doesn't cost him a position, I don't think. Yes, it has. Dimitris has gotten by. So Dimitris is up into 6th position here. A great showing for him in the 635. And Yves really sideways going into turn 1, and as Steve Parker goes up the inside of Yannick into turn 1, but Yannick looking for the cutback. Not able to do it there, but let's see if he can have a run through here. Oh, he does. Can he go up the inside as well though? We thought about it, but Steve covers that off. And now Yves is... Oh, Yves actually decides to let them go. We let Steve go, but stays ahead of Brian. And that's the Rover boys helping one another. I know they were sharing setups earlier, so this could be a bit of a mark friendliness, as Ryan has to run on Yves, but isn't able to do it. Oh, there's contact on the braking for the S's. Ryan trying to go around outside. Yves covers that off. And looks like Steve will be able to pull away. So Yves clearly struggling for tires as well. As unfortunately it looks like Dave has dropped back just a tad from Mick here. Let's see what Ray can do in his BMW fight with Jan, who must be tired of that black BMW being around. He gets really sideways on the brakes, is able to just about hold on to the track, but Ray should have a run. Just not quite a passing opportunity up here at Icom Corner, but see what he can do. Prussia has a good run through there, so looks like he'll hold on for now. If only just. As we have 4 laps to go. There's a bit of contact, I believe, between Jan and Ray there. So it definitely looks like Ray is quicker in the twisty stuff, but just like we saw earlier, Jan seems to be very good off the final corner and down the straight. As Ray dives up the inside. That's a very opportunistic move, as Jan got just a little bit wide. As Jan though has the top end speed by the looks of things, so let's see if Ray can stay ahead and take the position. Oh, still side by side. Jan trying to go for the cutback, but Ray parks it on the apex and takes the position away. That was a great pass by Ray. It has to be said. Let's see. Ooh, Mick must have made a mistake, being that far behind Thiago. So Dave up into 13th as well. That's a great showing for him. As Jan and Ray is still very close, and Brian hasn't given up on getting by Yves either. So let's see what happens here as Yves gets sideways. Oh, almost a bit of contact. Brian trying to go around outside. He should have the opportunity here. Yves goes very deep and sideways, really sliding that Rover around. Oh, but here comes Brian with a fantastic cutback. Just a bit unfortunate for him that it's a V8 he's against. Not sure he'll be able to hold on down the straight. Unless Eves gets a bad exit, he sort of does. Both of them hit the wall, coming off. With of course 3 laps to go. Looks like Brian might actually be able to hold on here. Ooh, Eves really going for it down the inside. Wow, that's a nice pass from Eves as well. Parks the bus on the apex and gets the position back. As Eves gets sideways, both of them make contact. Oh dearie me. They should have enough gap behind, so they should be okay. Not really. There goes Ray, unfortunately. Oh, and Jan as well, trying to go around outside of Brian. Oh, 3 wide on the exit. Oh dearie me, that's more contact. And Jan goes a bit too deep there, and Yannick gets the cutback. Let's see if Eves can make his way past Jan. And Eves really sideways, really have eaten up his tires. As we have 2 laps to go. Yes, Bruno makes a very nice move to stay out of the way. Ooh, as we have Jon Team off in turn 1, Dimitris closes up. I see 2 laps to go here. Let's see if Dimitris can get up into the top 5. That would be a fantastic show. Sorry, top 6. Oh, I thought he gained a position. Not sure what's going on, but Grant has gotten by Jan Tits in the meantime. I missed that in all of that. Forget that, Jan Tits just had a spin here and dropped another few positions. So he too has eaten up the tires, so now it is a fight for the top 5 for Dimitris. As Jan goes very deep, Dimitris is going for the run on round outside. Oh, he's able to do it. Oh, and now Jan trying round outside. Let's see if he goes for the cutback instead. We get sideways on the power. Dimitris is now up into the top 5 with that. What a great race. And Eves is now under pressure from Dave Miller as well. Wow. So by the looks of things, at least Thiago Canola will take the win. Unless something happens to him during his final lap. Let's see if we can see him anywhere in the background to know where he is, but we can't. So Dimitris looks like he'll hold on from Jon down the straight. Oh, Dimitris running wide though. Not wide enough for Jon. Let's see, Thiago Canola coming through towards the final corner on his final lap. So let's get the graphics up as they should be, of course. As Thiago Canola rounds the rock sweeper for the final time. As Eves and Dave is side by side. But that's Thiago Canola taking his 2nd win in the championship. Fantastic drive from Thiago. Congratulations to him. And 2nd will be Matthias Weber, who I believe takes over the championship lead with that. And understandably he's happy with that result. David Yates was leading for a long time, but unfortunately tire wear and possibly concentration got the better of him, but he'll still get a podium in 3rd position, so great job from David here. 4th looks to be Grant Riddle, with 5th for Dimitris Giannopoulos. Actually not that far behind Grant in the end. So really good showing from Dimitris to say the least, but Grant from last on the grid gets 4th. 5th for Dimitris Giannopoulos. 6th for Jon Team. 7th for Jan Tits. 8th looks to be Steve Parker in his Rover. 9th, just about, looks to be Ray Riddle, and rounding out the top 10 will be Brian Yannick. Great drive from both of those guys. And Jan Prusha with a good showing in his first race here with us at HSO gets 11th. really did a good job in the fights. And a run towards the start-finish line. Looks like who actually got that? Dave Miller actually got that on the line by 25 thousandths of a second. So Dave actually gets 12th. A great drive from Dave. Eves, unfortunately for him, gets 13th. 14th for Mick Chapman. 15th for Cesarius Shalapinski. 16th, I believe, for Joabos. 17th for Bruno Chacon. 18th for David Saber. 19th for Jason Fitch. 20th for Filippo Marazzi. 21st for Raul Jereb. 22nd, and unfortunately retired, was Michael Drexler. And unfortunately Raul Jereb retired as well, about 9 laps from the end. Felipe Enrique gets 23rd. And Øyvind Andersen, unfortunately, with massive damage to the front of his car, retired early and finishes last in this race. But what a fantastic race that turned out to be. Just great fun to watch. And honestly, a really good drive from everyone. That was a very well-managed race. It's really good stuff to watch, to say the least. As I noticed, someone was doing some burnouts in the background in this, what is now the practice session after the race. But yeah, what a fantastic race. Let's have a quick look at what is coming up while we wait to see if anyone will be joining us after the race for a quick chat. So, thank you also for your kind words, those of you watching. It warms my heart that you're enjoying what we can put up here. But next up will be the Canadian Grand Prix from the 1971 F1 mod on Automobilista, round 10 of 11th on this Sunday, November 25th. I'm not sure, but I believe there should be a couple of free cars possibly available. But it will be broadcast by Pascal Mikola, who ain't here, who of course wasn't here tonight because of work, but he'll be broadcasting that, and I believe either Richard Wilkes or Alberto Ibanez should join him as color commentators. Next after that will be the Wellington 500 case. It won't be quite 500, it'll be a 2-hour timed race, as I mentioned earlier, which will be Sunday, December 2nd. It'll be the week after the F1 race. And after that, it's the final round of the F1 1971 Championship, round 11 from the United States Grand Prix, which will be Watkins Glen on Sunday, December 9th, which I believe will end off our championship year. Thank you, Lukasz. There is one car available for the F1 race on Sunday, a Lotus 69. As we also were joined, while I was talking about all that, by Matthias Weber, who gets second in this race. Congratulations on second and picking up the lead in the championship.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Jonatan. Was no chance against Dago.
Well, it looked like you were giving him a good run for his money early on in the race, keeping him behind you, but didn't take much for him to get by, did it?
Yeah, I was thinking about blocking him, but I was ruining my tire, so I was thinking about letting him by, and then I made a slight mistake, and then he was gone. So everything fine, yeah. Didn't know what happened in the first corner.
Look, I didn't quite catch it either. I just know a couple of cars, 3 cars were wide on the exit. I'm not sure why that happened, but of course we'll have a look after the race to see if anything untowards was going on.
But I had no damage, and I think P2 is amazing. Yeah,
That's great to hear. And of course Wellington. Sorry, go ahead.
Wellington will be interesting. Yeah, I was wondering about the both rovers from Steve and Eves, but they weren't at the front of the field, I think.
No, looked like they especially was struggling with tires. The rovers, of course, works the rear end quite a bit with a very good gripping front end. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us for a bit of a post-race chat, Matthias. And again, congratulations on second and picking up the lead in the championship ahead of the final round.
Yeah, thank you. And as always, thanks for broadcasting again.
You're very much welcome. So with that, I think we'll cap off the broadcast. Thank you everyone who joined in to race this evening, and of course all of you for tuning in to watch. And yeah, hope you had as much fun as I did watching this race. But until Sunday, have a very good week, and I hope you all will tune in for that one. Take care and good night.